Ah, the cell, the building block of all living organisms, and the bane of students everywhere. Oh, sure, it sounds simple at first, but when you consider these things, and this stuff, and this dude, ironically enough, the most basic unit of life becomes pretty complex. So that's why I'm here to explain the organelles of the cell by comparing them to something you all hopefully have: a body. Now, I'll be explaining the various organelles found in cells, so just in case, I'll brief you on what exactly an organelle is. Organelles are the structures found inside cells that help them do what they do and survive. Simple, right? Got it? Get it? Good. Now, as we will be venturing all around the cell, we should probably start with the outside of a cell, which would be the cell or plasma membrane. The cell membrane is a layer of phospholipids and proteins meant to keep the bad out and the good in. This is a lot like, you guessed it, the skin, which protects you from infections and having your guts fall out. Now, unlike your skin, the cell membrane is selectively permeable, which means that it lets certain things in and out of the cell. So, we know that the cell has organelles and a cell membrane, but what exactly determines the shape? Well, clueless viewer, that would be the cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton provides structure and support for the entire cell, much like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I honestly couldn't come up with anything to compare this to. I'm really sorry about this. I feel like I let you guys down. Wait, hold on. Wait, that's it. The cytoskeleton is exactly like the muscular system. Oh yeah, I guess that works too. Now, when I say the skeleton, I specifically mean the long bones like your femur or humerus that provide support for your body and shape for your limbs, just like the cytoskeleton. We have all this protection and support, but for what exactly? Well, to start with, the nucleus. The nucleus is the brain of the cell, controlling and directing the organelles, helping them coordinate with each other to provide for the cell. The nucleus also contains deoxyribonucleic acid, or if you're a normal person, DNA, which is essential to the multiplication of cells and thus continuing to exist. This is kind of how the brain allows us to do several things necessary to live, such as learning and moving. Inside the nucleus, there lies another organelle by the name of the nucleolus. The nucleolus is located inside the nucleus and produces ribonucleic acid, or RNA, which is used to create ribosomes, which in turn create proteins. This is a lot like the brainstem, which is located just under the brain and controls several vital bodily functions, such as regulating breathing or heartbeat. Both the nucleolus and the brainstem are located inside or in very close proximity to the brain or nucleus, and both have a very important role in maintaining the body or the cell. In the cell, proteins are the major commodity that is produced, used, and sold. So let's talk about the journey of a protein, starting with the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER. The ER can be separated into two major parts: the rough ER, which contains numerous membrane-bound ribosomes, giving it the appearance of being rough, hence its name, and the smooth ER, which has no ribosomes, giving it the appearance of, yeah, you get the idea. The ribosomes in the rough ER produce proteins, which are then moved throughout the smooth ER's tunnels to where they need to go. This pair works a lot like bone marrow and blood vessels do. Similar to the rough ER producing proteins, bone marrow produces blood cells. These are then sent into the bloodstream so that they can be moved to where they need to be. From the ER, the proteins arrive at the Golgi apparatus, or Golgi body. The Golgi apparatus ships proteins either out of the cell or in storage for later use. The large intestine is very similar as it takes the remains of digested food and pushes it out of the body, much like how the Golgi apparatus would push a protein out of the cell. In my description of the Golgi apparatus, I mentioned that proteins can be stored for later use, and while this next organelle doesn't store proteins, it is a major storage center for the cell. The vacuole. The vacuole can store various things from nutrients to water and even waste. This is a lot like the liver, which is where excess energy is stored in the form of glycogen. Like everything, organelles do not last forever, so that's what the lysosome is for. Lysosomes are packs of enzymes that engulf and break down old organelles, particles of food, and even viruses or other threats to the cell. In this sense, lysosomes are just like white blood cells, which patrol the bloodstream, pouncing on and destroying any pathogens or foreign threats it comes across. A cell is only a cell, and at some point it will run out of energy. That is, if it doesn't have the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the small intestine of the cell. It turns nutrients into energy for the cell through a process called cellular respiration. The small intestine turns food into nutrients, and yes, these are the very same nutrients that cell will use to gain its energy. It isn't already abundantly clear, cells are essential to life, so it should be no surprise that they have an organelle that aids them in the process of reproducing called the centriole. Centrioles' main function is to help the cell during cell division. Specifically, centrioles will help cells form spindle fibers during the mitosis stage. Centrioles have a lot in common with the reproductive organs of a human, as, shockingly enough, the reproductive organs help with reproduction, just as the centrioles help with reproduction. And finally, we move on to an organelle exclusive to plants, the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are the chlorophyll-filled organelles that conduct photosynthesis, in which plants absorb energy from the sun and turn it into glucose, which is in turn used to provide energy for the cell. Chloroplasts can be compared to a substance found on the surface of your skin, called provitamin D3, which reacts with ultraviolet rays emitted from the sun to create vitamin D for your body. Both provitamin D3 and chloroplasts use the sun to provide vital necessities. Who knew there were so many examples of the various organelles found in cells in your own body? Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that cells make up your organs. Well, I hope you found this experience both educational and somewhat entertaining. Until next time.